Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Kerm Foltz with Market Leader. We want to welcome you to today's webinar. I'll call it a little bit of a workshop as well, because what we're going to focus on today is how you can convert leads into contacts within 7 days. So here's our agenda for today. We'll walk you through a systematic approach for connecting with your leads, techniques to have contacts proactively reach out to you, and then 6 emails that actually work. I'm going to put everybody on pause just for 2 seconds here. Thank you. I'm actually, I had to run upstairs to this room, so I was slightly out of breath. I apologize. But some of the things that we're going to do today is I'm going to provide you with 6 emails that work that actually are created to drive people back to your website and created also to have the consumer connect directly with you and then proactively reach out to you via email or via phone as well. And then we're going to cover a lot more stuff as well. One of the things I want to invite everybody to is everyone that's part of Market Leader and is specifically designed to increasing your GCI by $80,000 in 2013. We've created the Million Lead Challenge, or the $1 Million Pipeline Program, and we have workshops every Monday morning at 9 o'clock. Now, what do the workshops entail? It's an exclusive club for real estate professionals, okay, that are focused on 2 things. Number 1 is increasing their GCI by $80,000, so increasing their gross commission income by $80,000 in 2013, specifically by generating 40 to 50 to 60 leads each and every month, and then having that plan of attack to know exactly what to do. So it comes with one-on-one coaching as well. So just as an FYI, here are some of the classes that we do in the $1 Million Pipeline Program. So if you want to be a part of this, we do workshops every Monday morning at 9 o'clock. At the end, I will provide a phone number and an email that you can reach out to us and be a part of the $1 Million Pipeline Program. Some of the people that started in the $1 Million Pipeline Program back in January, they've generated, on average, 80, 90 to 100 leads each and every month. And then those turn into contacts using a specific plan of attack. What I encourage everyone to do is have a piece of paper, pen and pencil at their computer, chat in any questions, jot down some things. At the end of today's webinar, we will shoot everybody an email with today's recording, as well as provide you an opportunity to call in and get our PDF. Those people who are not familiar with Market Leader, we've been in business for 13 years. We actually work with well over 125 individual agents and managing brokers that use our product. We have a full marketing center. So what does that mean? 4,000 specifically designed templates, flyers, postcards that you can utilize in your business. So what we're going to talk about today is the power of relevant content in email. Okay. Other things we're going to cover today is how to specifically convert leads into contacts. Not every lead that you get into your pipeline is going to turn into a contact. So we have to understand that. Not every contact is going to turn into a potential buyer and seller. And not every potential buyer and seller will turn into a transaction. The key here is utilizing specific techniques to convert a lead into a contact. Now, what is a contact? That is someone that is visiting your website on a daily or weekly basis to collect and gather real estate information to help them decide when that right time is to purchase or to sell their home. Does that make sense? So I want you to understand this. When you get a lead, they're probably somewhere under 300 days of purchasing or selling their home. The question is, how do you get them under 150 days? And that's by using a specific plan of attack to convert a lead into a contact. Now, when you have everything we do here is going to position you to be unique and successful. And it's key because most real estate professionals appear as another face in the crowd. And what do I mean by that? They send the same type of content that's not personalized, and it doesn't make sense as all the other real estate professionals in their area. They advertise themselves, okay, on places such as Zillow, such as Trulia, such as Realtor.com, where they have to compete with everybody else. Everything we talk about today, in order to convert a lead into a contact, you're going to appear as if you are the neighborhood expert of real estate in your area, not another face in the crowd. I asked you this, and then if we were to poll your clients as well, do you appear as a realtor? Are you branding yourself as a realtor, or are you branding yourself as a neighborhood expert, as a wealth of information, as a wealth of knowledge? The key here is being able to appear unique and successful. Now, the part of what we're going to talk about is when you convert leads into a contact, you're going to do this in multiple spots, okay? But using email will be effective when you're generating leads, when you're engaging those leads, converting those leads, and continuing relationships. Now, the key here is most of us are all in this boat. In fact, if you probably created your own visual, might be what you look at. Now I got a lead. Now what the heck do I do? What do I email? What do I send? What do I say? What's the consumer thinking? So I think one of the things is, in order to convert a lead into a contact, and remember, a contact is someone that is continuing to come back to your website, continuing to reach out to you via your website on a daily or weekly basis. I want you to think about this. The two most important things with your website is what? Does anybody know? Number one is to generate leads. Your website has to generate leads. And number two, which is almost just as important, your website has to be responsible for educating your consumers, for educating your contacts, for educating your clients, or for educating your past customers. Your website has to be responsible for that, not you verbally. And I think that's some of the ways where agents make a mistake, is their website isn't there and available to educate their consumers. And they don't have a way for consumers to get to their website, because the consumer's not going to just type in yourwebsite.com. Okay, they're going to use in order to convert today's lead into a contact, you have to use a specific plan of attack. So the question is what is your approach? One of the things you can do is you have to understand the information that consumers are gathering online. And here's an interesting statistic. From the time that someone thinks, so that thought comes into their head that, yeah, I could buy, I might want to move. We should maybe look at buying our next home or our first home. Or the time that they're like, you know, honey, we should maybe sell. We should think about that. From that first time that thought enters their mind to the actual time that they turn into a transaction, guess how many days on average it is? 468 days, or 15 months. The average person, when that thought was into their head, then to the point that they end up buying or selling, on average it's 15 months. Now, what are they doing over those 15 months? They're collecting information. They're collecting and educating and becoming more knowledgeable to decide when, they're assessing when is that window of opportunity for me personally, individually, or me and my family should purchase our next home. And then if you're a potential seller, they're deciding when is that window of opportunity, when is the best time for me to put my home on the market to get the dollar amount that I want. This is when consumers are going to Google and Yahoo and Zillow and Realtor.com and Trulia and Realestate.com or any search engines that they can do. That's what they're deciding. And so often agents think that they're going online to find an agent. No, they're going online to collect and gather information to decide when is that right time. So your key is to be able to be the one person that provides them with that information. And you can't do it verbally because today's consumer wants it how? Notice what I'm not saying. I'm not saying today's online consumer. All consumers All consumers are online consumers today. So you must embrace it. That's why we created the $1 Million Pipeline program, because it is all about generating enough leads to increasing your GCI by 80K this year. And you're running out of time. And then it's all specifically designed as we're going to tell you what to say, what to do, what to write, what not to write, and exactly a prescriptive 7-day plan of attack. I'll share part of that today. And then those people who want to be a part of all of the workshops that happen every Monday morning at 9 o'clock, I'll give you details on that. Okay? But the key here is understanding today's consumer. Now here is why we created the $1 Million Pipeline program. Okay? Remember what I said. Leads, what we're going to focus on today is moving someone from a lead to a contact. Does that make sense? All right, that's all we're going to focus on is this part of the funnel. If you make a mistake in this part of the funnel, guess what happens to that lead? It pops out of your funnel. Those are the people that never return an email, never return a phone call, and disappear. Why? Because you took the wrong approach. Okay, so one is we have to understand that if you misidentify your lead, if you take the wrong approach, if you appear as if you're selling, if you appear as a realtor, if you appear as another face in the crowd, that lead will pop out. So what we are going to focus on today is your plan of attack to moving leads into this bucket right here, which is prospects and contacts. My future classes in the $1 Million Pipeline program actually walk through how do you add people, okay, and then how do you move them down each of these funnels. Okay, does that make sense? Where we're going to cover most of our time. Let me do one more thing. Just so you know, when you generate 50 leads, do we know how many are going to turn into contacts? Anybody? Chuck, Cindy, Cynthia, Diane, George, Jolena, Jonas? We had hundreds of people on today's call. How many leads will turn into contacts? I'll help you. 22 to 28. Diana says half. That's pretty close. It's anywhere from 44 to 52% of the 52%. Ken says 1. Kenneth says 3. Thanks for participating. But here's the key. 50 of your leads will, 22 of 28 of them will turn into contacts when you use the right plan of attack. That means these people are on your website every day or every week. They're collecting and gathering information. And we're happy with that, right? If you know you generate 50 leads and 22 to 28 of them are on your website every day and every week, we're thrilled. Now, and this is where we're going to focus on today is right here. Now, the next thing, which are future things, if you're a part of the $1 Million Pipeline program, is between 11 and 17 of them, okay, will be people that are potential listings and buyers. Now, I know that sounds like a lot, but it really isn't. These are people that are emailing you and responding back to you proactively. You're not having to chase. They're coming to you. And then from there, between 4 and 7 will turn into transactions. Now, here's a couple of other things. Up here, it's about 468 days. Here, these people are under 200 days anywhere. Prospects and contacts are under 120 days. Here, these people are under 90 days. Now, don't think of they're at 90. They could be anywhere under 90. All right? And then obviously this is all about your money. This pipeline never lies. Now, what happens what agents do? They only have how many people? They have 8 people. How many leads have you generated? Did you generate in March? Someone want to share with me? Preferably a low number. Most agents generate, Lilini, nice job. Lilini has generated 50 leads a month. Chuck, 35. That's awesome. I'm going to use Janice generated 8 leads last month. Okay? When she's generated 8 leads, how many of those have turned into prospects or contacts? 3 to 5 are coming back to her website, collecting and gathering information. That means she has 8 people that are under 200 days, actually probably about 250 days. She has 3 to 5 people that are under 150 days. She has, those people will turn into 0 to 1 that are under 90 days. And so, and then this is obviously 0 to 1 as well. All right, she's got to get really lucky to get this sale. So where does she spend all of her time? Putting a lot of pressure on these people that are that are about 150 days out. And so when she takes the incorrect approach, what happens? These people fall out of her pipeline. That's why they disappear. So where we are going to spend all of our time today is right here. Okay? All right, let's get started a little bit. One of the things is the power of email does work, and the power of being able to convert a lead into a prospect or into a contact by driving them to your website does work. We know that 90% of consumers start their home search online. Let me walk you through what that statistic means. 90% of people, Google has told us this, 90% of traffic, 90% of searches that are real estate driven, okay, are in that silo, in that vertical. 90% of them are looking at pictures and details of homes. 10% are looking for short sale processes, foreclosure processes, the value of their home. They're looking for the loan information. They're looking for the steps to get approved for a loan. They're looking through processes. 10%. 90% are looking at homes, pictures, and details. So everything that you do has to be able to drive them back to your site because that is the information that's most applicable to them. Okay? Now remember when I said the average consumer, the time that thought goes into their head about buying or selling to the time they actually turn into a transaction is about 468 days. The amount of time that they take to choose and determine who their agent is, does anyone want to guess at that? Think about that. They're collecting and gathering information and thinking about things for 15 months. And the amount of time that they take to choose which agent, Amy says 15 minutes. You're pretty darn good. It's under a day. So what's key here is if we go back to the funnel, let's go back to this funnel, you have to be involved throughout this entire process. But how you stay involved is your website. Okay? Your website has to have these categories. One, it's got to be consumer focused. So your website, remember the 2 goals of your website, one, it's got to have lead capture. And it can't be a contact me and it can't be a call me. If you want to effectively convert leads into contacts, it's got to be all about your website. If you want to win the battle of the email, then it's all about your website. Okay? And now here's what has to happen on your website. It's got to be consumer focused, which means on your first page, on your main page, you got to have listings. And they got to be all from the MLS. So you have to have an IDX feed. Okay? You can't force them to check 4 or 5 or 6 different boxes on your website because the consumer isn't going to do that. They're going to get PO'd and leave. All right? Here's the next thing. You have to educate them on everything. All school information, all neighborhood information, all market analysis information, all up-to-date, what's the value of my home, nearby listings, popular listings, everything that a consumer is collecting and gathering throughout those 400 days has to be on your website. So when a consumer is under 150 days and they're deciding between this neighborhood and that neighborhood, that has to be on your site. And it has to be easy. And it can't be any links. If you do, then you lose them. Okay? And it's got to be mobile. Because most searches are done on people's smartphones as well. So your power of your email is when you send them information, there's going to be links on there that drives them right back to their website. Where do most people check their email from? It's not their computer. It's their phone. So you must have links in there that drive them right back to your website that's mobile friendly. Now the next thing is in order to move people through that funnel, it's got to be connected to your contact management system. This can't be a database. Who's responsible for driving people to your website? You're not. Your contact management system is. You will not turn a lead into a contact if you're using the MLS. You will not turn a lead into a contact if you're using Listing Book. And I assume probably 90% of what you're doing will not turn a lead into a contact because you do not have a contact management system that's connected that drives people back to your website. And that's the key. All right, especially when you're generating 50, 60 leads a month. Now, let's talk about some of the things about identifying your email strategy. Here are some of the ways that you can convert a lead into a contact. First of all, in your first impression, it needs to be very specific. Your introduction, okay, should only be about you and your name and your brokerage. And you're going to demonstrate, you got 2 to 3 bullets. What do you do really, really well? Your strength lies with first-time home buyers and as a very strong listing agent. Now you've covered 99% of the reason why people became a lead. Your strength is as a first-time home buyer agent and as a listing agent. Now here's some of the keys. In your first point of contact, and this is verbal or email, you are going to confirm the information. You cannot ask for the information. If you ask for the information, then the source of that lead is bad. If you're getting leads and you don't know information about their home because they're looking to sell it, or you don't know how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms, the square footage, the areas that they're interested in of viewing homes, if you don't know that information, then you must cancel that company. Because you cannot interview and you can't interrogate. You must confirm the information. And then verbally thank them for visiting your website, or via email you are going to provide them a link to your site. Now why is that important? Because where do you want them collecting and gathering information? Your site or back to Zillow, Trulia, Realtor.com, Google, or someone else's site? You're right, you want it to yours. They're not magically going to type in your name of your website. So that whole first impression, if it's text, you can do this off text, you can do this off email, and you can do this off a phone. But you can't interview, you can't interrogate, you must confirm information. So what does that look like, the confirm of information? Hey, I see that I want to make sure that I can provide you with all of the homes that match your criteria. Most of the homes that looks like you're interested in are 3-bedroom, 2 to 2.5 bath homes that are single family between the price ranges of $300 to $350. Is that correct? Yeah. Okay. Now, next approach. Your next thing that is the key is your subject lines. So when you send an email, it is proven that if you put their first name, and I put my first name here, that it increases the percent of consumers that click on your email. So put their first name here, and if it's a lead that registered on your website, a subject line could be "Thank you for registering," or a subject line of "4 must-see homes," or "up-to-date neighborhood information," or "Here is your estimate." People are going to click on it. Okay. Now let's talk about people that are a little bit further downstream. Now your strategy, these are people that are leads and semi-contacts, is provide them a link to your site for further education. Let's say you know this person has viewed 7 homes and saved 1 specific home in a specific neighborhood. Then what you can do is go to your MLS, find a tidbit about that home, go get additional pictures from the kitchen or the backyard, call the listing agent and find out a few specifics of what people will like, shoot them that in a text, in an email, over the phone about that tidbit, and drive them back to your website. Diana asked, can we get a copy of the slides? You bet. All right. And if you want to be a part of the $1 Million Pipeline, which then I'll tell you exactly what emails to send, I'll give you that information as well. Everyone at the end, I'm going to give you these slides, plus I'm going to give you 6 emails that work. So the next thing here, too, is in order to turn a lead into a contact, a couple of other strategies, market analysis information. But don't put it in a long email or a long conversation. It's 2 to 3 bullet points, and then everything you do is provide them a link back to your website, and your website should have market analysis. Your website should have inventory trends. Your website should say that inventory is down in your city, in those neighborhoods, from January to February to March. Okay? Here's a great thing. What about attachments? Do not send attachments. Send links. Attachments don't drive them to your website. Okay? Katie, you got to write this phone number down. I apologize that you got to run, but you got to write the phone number down if you want to be a part of the $1 Million Pipeline. It's 888-820-4778. Okay? The $1 Million Pipeline program is an exclusive club, so it's solely designed for people that want to add people into their pipeline and use a prescriptive plan of attack. Now, so never send attachments with this, ladies and gentlemen. You got to drive them back to your website. Here's the biggest thing that you can educate them in text or in email. They're wondering, you got to provide them with insight as to know when their window of opportunity will arrive. Are you okay with someone who goes on to your website or becomes a lead that wants the value of their home? Are you okay and confident enough to tell them that they should wait 3 months until they put their home on the market? Okay? Or is your approach that, hey, let's get that yard sign in front right now? Okay? The consumer is looking and determining when is their window of opportunity. A couple of things here I love. Subject lines, more information on your saved home. KERM, inventory trends for your city. But the content's got to be 2 to 3 sentences, 2 to 3 bullet points, and then a link that drives them back to your website. Still on re-engaging contacts, monthly market analysis is key. Here's a great question, or a great thing. Is this your window of opportunity? Still curious about home values in your neighborhood? Again, ladies and gentlemen, the $1 Million Pipeline program, I can't physically send everybody this. So I'll provide you with a phone number to call, and then you can get all that information shortly. Okay, sorry. Subject lines, these work. Subject lines are important. Still curious about home values in your neighborhood. Think about all those people that wanted to find the value of their home a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, 4 years ago, because they were deciding, do I refinance or do I sell? Or how much am I under now? Okay, or those people that are in your pipeline, they're always curious about home values in your neighborhood. That's a great subject line, 2 to 3 bullet points, a link that drives them back to your website, let them put all that information in on the website, and then you provide them a quick market analysis. This is how you can stir up your pipeline. Is this your window of opportunity? How about this subject line? Home prices up 8.7% in your city. Is this your window of opportunity? Is it your time? Okay? When you send emails or any approach, you always have to be able to provide value. Listings, neighborhood statistics, market analysis. And then guess what? You, in your email, in your text, ask them, how am I doing? Okay? Don't ask, is this the information you're looking for? Because you must. You must know the information that they're looking for, or don't send them any info. But a great topic, and I'll put this to you, provide this to you as well, is how am I doing? Put their name in it. Put Nancy, how am I doing? Okay? Create a conversation. Constant sales messaging is the easiest way to scare off a lead. And that's what people do often, and they kick them out of their pipeline. So I'm going to go over this real quick. And if you want to join the $1 Million Pipeline program, we can dive into this later. But here's the key. If you reach out to consumers who are not looking for you, you lose, the consumer wins, and it's going to cause negative feelings. That's the biggest reason why agents don't turn a lead into a contact. 44 to 52% of every one of your leads should turn into a contact. Remember, definition of a contact is someone who's coming back to your website every day or every week. Remember, they will decide who they go with in one day, less than one day. So if you're not the one that's providing them that information from your website, you lose. So that's your key, okay? Now, there are a couple different demographics. I teach exactly what to send and what to email if you're a baby boomer, if you're a Gen X, or if you're a millennial. Because each of these people have a different set of needs. And each of them have been hit hard by the recession in different ways. So the key here is being able to use a 7-day plan of attack. All right? With each of these demographics, so you can, what if you treated a millennial like they were a baby boomer? What if the assumptions you made about your lead because you misidentified them, they're going to leave your pipeline? So what I teach is there are different demographics, traditionals, baby boomers, Gen X, and millennials, and that we provide you exactly what to do on day 1, day 3, day 5, and day 7 to each of these groups, and then exactly what to do with a hot lead, with a moderate lead, and with a low lead. Okay? And all that allows you to appear as if you're a co-pilot. Now, here's why that's important. The consumer wants you to steer, to guide. The consumer doesn't want you to control. When you go into a store to shop for a new pair of jeans, a new shirt, a new top, you want to be in control. You want someone to maybe guide and steer you and assist you and help you, but when you're going into a store, you're gathering and collecting information. And you're gathering and collecting information so you can make the best decision. Today's potential home buyer and home seller are no different. So everything you do, you must appear as if you're a co-pilot. And that's one of the reasons why the key here is on everything that you do, you must have a link that drives the consumer back to your website. Now the question is, do you want them back to your website? Is it good enough? Does it have everything that a consumer would want? If not, you got to go find a new site. Okay? The next thing is you have to utilize technology to drive people back to your site. You don't have time, and you didn't get into the business to create links and drive people back to your site. So there are some automated services out there. If you're interested in them, just let me know. Okay? And then your system will help you identify who is coming back to your website every day and every week. Those are your keys. Remember, it's all about that funnel. Okay? Some of the things I teach, here are 4 ways to get people back to your website. So in order to turn a lead into a contact, remember, 90% of consumers, 90% of people, this is according to Google, when they go on and do real estate searches, they're searching for homes. So when you send them an email, what is it that you're looking for? You lose. You already have assumptions, and you got to utilize those to demonstrate some expertise. So recommended listings within your business, I teach people how to do that. Okay? This drives the consumer back to your site, but more importantly, it eliminates them from utilizing other search engines. You cannot use Listing Book, and you cannot use, especially you can't use the MLS at this stage. You use the information that's in the MLS when they continue to return to your site. Okay, when they're under 90 days. You do not use that information initially. Okay? Now the other is all of the market data has to be integrated on your website as well. And so it demonstrates your expertise. And this is all the information. Automatic listing alerts. Most people use Listing Book again or
or the MLS to send them listings automated wise, or their brokerage site, that's not good, because your listing alerts has to drive them back to your website. So utilizing consistent technology that drives them back to your store. Your website is your store. That's where all the inventory is being held. That's where all the knowledge is. That's where the encyclopedias are, the definitions are. That's where all the information that consumers should go to collect and gather to decide, is this the right purchase or the right decision for me? Okay. The next thing is this provides, listing alerts provides a reason for your prospects to contact you directly. If there's not an integration between the contact management system, then you can't do that. And it opens up windows of relevant content. Jackie just started with Market Leader. She just chatted in. Is the integrated market data part of my site? Yes. Okay. Jackie, we want to make sure that you're part of the $1 Million Pipeline program as well, because you'll enjoy. And I have a website with all the class notes you can catch up with. Okay. All the class notes, all the class recordings of everything. We tell you exactly what to do, and we'll help you generate more leads free. Okay. It's part of the one-on-one coaching and the one-to-many type of coaching that we do. So here's the game plan. You get a buyer lead. This is what we teach on day 1, day 3, day 5, and day 7. The whole key here is getting them back to your website. Because remember, what you want to do is get them back to your website, and you're collecting data. You know, guess what? Hard to believe, Bo. No one buys a home 7 days after they become a lead. So you have plenty of time to make the right decisions and appear doing the right things in servicing. All right. On the listing side of the business, some of the things I teach is, and I do touches now, because this could be in 3 days or it could be in 10 days. All right. Is the green is what campaign you should send, and the red is a specific link. So I teach this all in the $1 Million Pipeline program. So on the listing lead, confirm the information as an estimate. All right, they went on your website, got a quick value of their home. All right, you call, you text, your email, you confirm the information as an estimate. Tell them that you'll provide a more accurate value of their home within 24 hours. And then guess what? People who own a home are also looking to buy a new one, right? They either want to downsize if they're a baby boomer, or they want to increase their size if they're a Gen X person. So you send them a link of 2 to 3 homes that match their criteria and assumptions that you've made. Okay? The $1 Million Pipeline program is free for the Market Leader customers. Okay? Fun. It's all about people that are it's an exclusive club, all about people that are solely dedicated. It's actually now almost a cult. Every Monday morning we do this, and we do it together. And it's fun. And we have a specific website that's designed and has all the class recordings, the worksheets, the class notes, and everything. And it's a community, so you share ideas, you talk to people as well. Okay? Touch number 2 is, here's what I do on this. I send a specific campaign, which we've already created, the property market evaluation, and then I send a link with, here's the last 6 months of data for average home prices in your neighborhood. Okay? And that drives them right back to the website. And the key here is I determine the initial motivation at that particular time. I'll show that to you. Touch 3, it's all about you. All right? Specific parts of that. Touch 4, it's all about utilizing marketing and website analytics. Okay? And then after the first 7, after I gather all that information in the 7 days, now it's all about, I put them on a group. Okay, if you want to turn a lead, remember why you're here. It's all about converting leads into contacts in the first 7 days. Once you've done that, then I put them in a group, and I attach them to a campaign that's relevant to their motivation in that group. Okay? Jackie, on the Mountain Standard Time, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock on the West Coast. Now, one of the things I've done as well, just so you know, is, and this is, I've done this for the people I coach and teach. If you don't have to become a Market Leader customer, but what I mean by that is you can create all this on your own, but it's harder, and you got to create links in it. Is no matter, you should, each of your campaigns, either that you use with Market Leader or other companies, should be specifically designed for their motivation. If not, don't send it. Okay? Don't send it at all. One of the things I want to show you real quick is, let me go, I'm putting people on pause, is here's the email that you guys, when you call in here shortly, here we go. All right. I've created 6 emails for you that all you have to do is utilize a link. All right. You can use this if you're a market leader customer or not a market leader customer. So I have different emails that you can send to engage them. In fact, there's actually 9 here. Okay. 9 emails. I thought I had 6. I forgot there was 9. I added a couple. And then all you want to do is create links to drive them back. So everybody gets this that calls in at the end. Okay? Pretty cool, huh? That you can use. It's proven and it works. Let me go back to a couple things. So the question is, like, how do you automate things? I think one is you have to have systems in place to be able to do that. All right? Here's an example of a listing alert you should use. And the key here is when they click on a home, it's got to drive them right back to your website. They click here, it's got to drive them back to your website. So the question is, how do you automate emails? Okay, first of all is how do you capture the lead's contact information? Your website has to be able to provide a reason for someone to put their information in. So you must tease them and give them, so what do consumers want on an ongoing basis? What do consumers want on an ongoing basis? They want monthly reports on their neighborhood. How does their home compare? How do home prices compare in their neighborhood to other neighborhoods and to other cities? They want to know interest rate information. They want to know what homes are either on the market that match a specific criteria or about to come on the market that match a specific criteria. So a lot of times agents on websites or when they're generating leads, it's all about call me or contact me or emailing me to get their information, and then I'll give you something. You can't have that. I really believe that you have to give today's consumer what they want, and then if they want future updated and daily or weekly or monthly updates to stay ahead, to stay educated, that's the reason why they provide you with that contact information. And that allows, the value proposition has to align with today's consumer. That allows the consumer to connect directly with you. If you don't want fake info, if you don't want fake phone numbers, if you don't want email things, then don't bait and switch them. Okay? Give them exactly what they want, and then offer for you to send them updates on that information in the future. Question I get often is, how often should I email? You should email when you know and have a window of opportunity. That's when you should do that. What content should you provide? Content that's relevant and content that has a purpose. If you don't have content that's relevant, then don't send it. And if you don't know what's relevant, then I encourage you to get a new system. Okay? Because your system should be able to provide you when that window of opportunity is and what information is relevant. Okay? All right, let's take a little bit of Q&A. All right? I'll allow you to take a little bit of Q&A. I'm not going to go to a live workshop right now of back-end systems, but I want to walk you through this. I'll give everybody the slides. Okay? The whole key, ladies and gentlemen, is moving people from here to here. Because if you don't have the right plan of attack, they leave right away. Now, I'm sure 80% of people on today's call generating fewer than 20 leads. Okay? That means if you are generating 20, okay, you're going to have between 8 and probably 12 here. You're going to have between 3 and 7 here. You're going to have between 0 and probably 3 transactions. Actually, probably, 2 transactions. So you got to get leads into your pipeline as well. Okay? But the key here is once you have a lead, is utilize some of the concepts that we talked about to turn a lead into a contact. So what were some of those concepts? First of all, be very specific. in email or in the subject or in text, your subject line, use their name. Utilize some of the subject headers I gave you. Okay. Utilize some of the emails that you're going to have when you call in. Okay. And then also use the 7-day plan of attack I walked you through. All right. I'm going to give you some of the people on here. I'm going to give you my email address. All right, so you can reach out to me. But let me tell you this. You want the $1 Million Pipeline Program, okay? All right. Generate 20 leads in 7 days. I generated a lead, now what? You know, we have Ask the Coach questions, taking advantage of the Marketing Center, advanced engagement strategies, all of that right there, okay? So Jackie, Todd, I'm going to give you guys my direct email address, all right, to get involved in this. Okay. Here's the deal. You want this 6 email, or the 9 emails I showed you. Remember? Where'd it go? There we go. All right. Here are the 9 emails. I have them all right here. Call in right now and get these emails. So I have a group of people that are standing by to give you this. All right. You got to call in so they can get your correct email address and send it to you right away. I know you're all on your phone and you're in front of your computer, so you can do that now, okay? I'll give you that phone number here in a second. And then you can ask questions about how you can get, maybe you already qualify for the $1 Million Pipeline Program. You might already qualify for it, okay? They'll ask you a couple standard questions to determine if you're qualified for it as well, okay? The phone number I have right here, it's 888-820-4778. You can get access. Okay, even if you don't want to be a part of the $1 Million Pipeline Program, call in to get the emails. Okay, call in to get the PDF. Tell them that you're on Kerm's webinar and you want the PDF of the 9 emails. Okay, you want leads. We're doing 3 months off, or 3 months at 50%. Okay, you need leads 3 months at 50% off. All right. And those people get into the club automatically. So you want to, maybe some people are automatically eligible for the club. Call in again, all right? Get your PDF of the 7 emails. Excuse me, what do I say? It's 9, the 9 emails, and see if you qualify to be part of the $1 Million Pipeline Program. And Sandy loves that you enjoyed this. Remember that everybody's website. What's the goal of your website? Evaluate it real quick. Generate leads and educate your clients. Because then in your emails and in your prescriptive plan of attack to turn a lead into a contact, you got to be able to drive that consumer using a link back to your website. Okay? You want the slides, you want everything, we'll send you an email on that. But you got to call in to get part of the $1 Million Pipeline Program and to get the email, the 9 emails. That phone number is 888-820-4778. All right. Thanks, everyone. Call in. I'll leave the phone number up and give you time right now to call in to get your 9 emails that you can utilize right away in your business. 888-820-4778. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, everyone, for joining us today. I really hope that you want to be a part of that club, the $1 Million Pipeline Program, and I will put my name out there. I guarantee you'll have success, because now I see people generating a ton of these leads, and more importantly, they're turning leads into contacts. And when you have people coming back to your website every day and every week, and then you have people that email you directly, now real estate's fun again. Okay, and we know more transactions are going to happen in April, May, June, July, August, and September at any time over a 6-month period of time when compared to probably 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 years ago. So this is a time to stay in the business. This is a time to get people into your pipeline. But more importantly, it's time to have a plan of attack to turn a lead into a contact. Because if you have the incorrect plan of attack, turning a lead into a contact, guess what happens? You're right. They pop out and they go somebody else. So that's why it's imperative. So even if you don't want to be part of the $1 Million Pipeline Program, call in and get your PDF of those 9 emails. All right, take care, everybody. 888-820-4778. Bye-bye.